Pausa rapidinho agora para falar de dica de ouro para os papais e mamães. Depois de experimentar a nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha, tudo ficou ainda melhor pro meu filho. É a única com canais em X que se adaptam aos movimentos, com 2 vezes proteção noturna e cintura elástica que se adapta ao corpinho do bebê, além de ser super fácil de colocar e tirar. Praticidade pura. Então guarda essa dica. Nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha. Bebê, estamos juntos nessa, mais do que nunca. Agora curta seu podcast.
There's no place like the Qube.
Hey, I'm Adell.
And I'm Anna.
And we are AD Productions. Get ready to nod your head and laugh out loud as we bring an unfiltered perspective to Black life in predominantly white spaces. So, welcome to The Head Nod, Season 1, Black Life at a PWI. We belong here. This is our space. Our stories and voices can't be erased. The struggle is real, but we won't back down. Black excellence, we wear the crown, yeah!
Boom, 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 boom. Family, our guest today is Chris Colbert. He is the founder and CEO of DCP Entertainment. He's also my friend and just like a really great person. That's not in his bio, but I'm just adding that for myself.
It should go on my bio.
It should be. DCP Entertainment is a media platform for underrepresented voices and the co-founder of Podstream Studios. If you didn't know, now you know if you're watching us right now. A customizable audio and video recording space in New York City. Chris began his career at Sirius XM, creating Jamie Foxx's comedy and music channel, The Foxhole, and went on to become the director of Urban Talk and Comedy. Now, outside of work, Chris can be found playing almost any sport, biking, or playing around with his camera. What up, Chris?
Hey, I'm here with the Head Nod. What's going on?
Welcome to the Head Nod. Yes, you are here.
I'm gonna do that every time.
And I think it's funny because that's like isn't that Jamie Foxx's song in that?
Yeah, it's from Dreamgirls.
Dreamgirls. Gonna take a mean ride. Hey, Chris, welcome. Glad you're here, my friend.
Yeah, me too. This is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. And we have every guest say this intro line. We want you to say your name. Did we say your pronouns?
No. I don't think you did yet.
No, we didn't. You don't have to. You say your name, what school you went to, and then if you had any like shout out or call that went along with your school.
So I'm Chris Colbert, he, him, his, went to Seton Hall University. We didn't have a real call out for Seton Hall, but I did have my little crew of friends, the U. Sorry, Miami, we kind of stole that from you, but you know, it is what it is. The U is short for Union. We might get into that later. Me and my core group of friends.
Like Seton Hall, where'd that come from?
It was the Union. It was a core group of individuals who were cool as shit.
All right. I'm with it.
I like it. So why Seton Hall? Why was that the school?
So, coming out of high school, I wanted to play basketball. So, like, all the schools I applied to were basketball schools, like lower D1, like not the level of what Seton Hall is. But then I realized I got some really bad knees and like I'm tall in regular life, like 6'1", but in basketball life, I'm kind of short. So like the trajectory for my career probably wasn't that great. So I applied to Seton Hall for radio and TV. It was the only school I applied to that wasn't for basketball, and I somehow got in. And I say somehow because I lied on my application because that was not my GPA. But they didn't check, so they got me. And so yeah, that's how I ended up at Seton Hall.
Not checking,
not admissions, just taking your word for it.
They ain't got time to check all these applications.
They're like, former baller, kinda. We'll take it.
My guidance counsel said, they were like, hey, you weren't going to get in anyway, so you might as well just lie.
Guidance. So what was it like when you got accepted, since you weren't expecting it anyway? Tell us about that. Like, what did they send? Like, how was that process?
Well, they send that big old packet, so you got in. Like, it's either that tiny letter or the big packet. So I got the big packet. I'm like, yeah, I got this one. My mom was really pissed because I didn't apply to any in-state schools. I kept telling her I was going to, and I just never did. I just didn't want to repeat high school. I went to like an all-white, grew up in a very white suburban area, went to a Catholic high school full of racism, and I'm just like, nah, I don't want to be around these people again. I just want to go somewhere else and go up a little bit further up north where maybe it's a little bit more acceptable to be black. And so, no, I was really excited to be getting closer to New York City, a place I'd never been, being able to go to a school that's one of the top media media schools in the country. And then I actually found out that Seton Hall was the #1 diverse school in the country. I didn't even know that when I applied. And so, yeah, I was really excited to just, get exposed to some cool folks. So, yeah, it was a good time.
Did you feel that when you got there? Because, all these schools will try to make you seem, and when they send you stuff, where's the one black kid, the one Asian kid, the one white kid on like the information package. But once you got on campus, did you really feel that it was diverse?
Well, before I answer that, I will say I also was that person in the pamphlet.
Me too, Chris. I was on the happy birthday card. Like, yeah.
Not the happy birthday card.
Yeah, they sent out happy birthdays to potential freshmen, and I was on the card, and it was like, yeah, it was, yeah.
I was on the Housing and Residence Life website. I was on the portfolio for Housing and Residence Life too. And it's me and two white women sitting, like they're sitting on their bed and I'm on the side with like a book like, hey. And I'm like, yeah, send your white girls here because there's going to be a black guy in their room. Like, is this the kind of marketing y'all want to do? Like, I appreciate y'all, but that's strange. But no, when I got on campus, I did like that early orientation because I literally knew nobody from my school. I didn't know anybody even from Maryland that went out there. So I'm originally from the Baltimore, Maryland area, an area called Harford County, Bel Air, Maryland, to get even more specific. And yeah, so I went to that orientation ahead of time to see, all right, let me make a few friends before I actually get up here. And like my friends right off the bat were, some Indian cat, a black dude from like Paterson, New Jersey. And there was just a whole crew of other just like black and brown folks. I think we had some Asian folks too, but it was primarily black and brown folks. So no, I felt it immediately. But I also was like, is this just the people who like didn't have shit else to do during the summer? Like, is it just gonna be all the white people later because they were rich on vacation, so they weren't here for the orientation? So I was a little nervous, but yeah, once school finally started, I realized, there's lots of us out here.
Cool.
So y'all were the most diverse school. So is it a PWI?
So technically it's still a PWI because it still was more white people, but like there was just per capita, like more minorities also involved. So, my dorm still was primarily white, but we had like good amounts of black people still in the building. So like my floor, we were in this residence hall called Boland Hall. And on the top floor, we had this thing called the penthouse. So in the penthouse is where I just happened to be there. We had a black RA who was like a senior. He'd been there, done that. And we had probably on my floor about 20% black people. And so in the afternoons and the evenings, like we all became really close. We'd have these like informal meetups. We didn't let all the black people come, so they weren't all down. We couldn't fuck with all of them, all skin folk and kin folk kind of thing.
That part.
But we'd get together and just talk shit about everybody. And we had one white guy that we let come. He was our token white guy, this guy, Brian. He was valedictorian of his high school, but he didn't feel like going to class and shit. So we let him come to our black meetups, and we just would talk shit about all the white people, and he would co-sign for us.
Dang.
That's good.
That is cool. So like that, how did that feel? Like, kind of like you said, trying to get away from the racism and kind of coming from what you knew to be your norm. Did you feel like a different type of, like, I don't want to say a culture shock, but like it was different than what you were used to?
Yeah. So, even before I got to Seton Hall, I remember, talking to my mom about this. My mom grew up in Southern New Jersey. I was born in Southern New Jersey, but I was raised in Maryland. And she always talks about how Maryland takes the Mason-Dixon line very seriously. I grew up around the KKK and like, skinheads and just tons of just horrible shit. Not as bad as maybe, things that you might experience down in Alabama or Mississippi, but, it was kind of rough. And I remember her telling me, like, when you get up to New York, New Jersey, like, you're going to love it. It's going to be so much different. And it was like there wasn't necessarily that overt racism. Now, I'm sure there was, stuff behind the scenes, that were happening, but the overt racism wasn't there. And I would tell even Black people that I went to school with some of the stories that I grew up with about how one of my friends on the side of his house, they spray painted nigger on the side of his house. My senior year in high school, these kids wrote on the bathroom stall at our school, so-and-so's a nigger lover. And those kids only got suspended for like 2-3 days. Meanwhile, my Black friend got expelled from school right before graduation over hearsay of weed. Didn't even find anything, but they expelled him. And so like, just even those things, like, oh, that stuff still happens? And so I think that was so interesting for me to realize that even Black people don't even know what's happening. So yeah, it was a different experience.
Well, let me see where to go from that, Chris. Let me make it more lighthearted. Let me make it more lighthearted. We'll back up a little bit too. Like even when I applied to the school, so my sister went to Howard. I have a brother who went to Norfolk State. I have a brother who went to Hampton. Like I'm the only one who didn't. I have another brother who went to Morgan State. I'm the only one who didn't even apply to HBCUs. I wanted no parts of an HBCU. Like
why?
It was because that's not how the world works. Like, I'm like, especially because I want to work in media, like, I need to understand how white people move. I need to make these relationships and not just pigeonhole myself into a certain demographic. And yes, it's going to be cool. It's going to be a great experience. But then what's next? And so, like, it's not putting down HBCUs at all. But for my journey, I felt like it wasn't what was needed. And at the same time, hey, I can just go visit my brothers and sisters at their school. Howard Homecoming, what's up? I'm coming down.
Let's talk about that. Like, I was all the way in Pennsylvania. I still flew down for Howard Homecoming. I'm not even gonna hold you because it was the thing. It was awesome. I can't. But I get that. What's funny, Chris, is like a lot of our guests kind of say the similar thing, like choosing a PWI to be in an environment that kind of reflects how the world is and like how corporate America or whatever professional spaces, or just like understanding the white person and like how to navigate those spaces beyond what you were dealing with from like the racism that you were experiencing, but just like how they move professionally and just kind of occupying and going through those awkward phases kind of early on to kind of level up or leverage yourself when entering a professional space. We've heard that a few times.
Yeah. And I'll also be honest too, I don't know if I was going to necessarily feel all that comfortable just being around Black people because I hadn't done that yet. Like my whole life has been spent in white suburbs and don't get me wrong. Like I'd spent my summers in Baltimore City with my family down there, and so like I've been around lots of Black people, but to every day in, day out, just be around Black folks, it just I don't know. It didn't really fit who I was at that time. Like I very much want to be part of that community, want to be part of that group, and again have that camaraderie and support. But it just didn't feel right for me.
So you found it in the union. I mean, we got to talk a little bit more about the U. We got to talk more about the U.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Are outsiders allowed to do it? Because
it's okay. Like, you friend of a friend, so you get grandfathered in or grandmothered in. I don't know if the right terms these days. So the U is a group of friends that I had that I met kind of early on at Seton Hall. It consists basically of like all these people that come from different backgrounds. So like we have a guy from Lebanon. We have, me, the African American. We have a guy who's Haitian. We have a half white, half Black guy. We have the white rapper. We got the white Italian guy who's, fresh off the boat from Italy. What else did we have? We had another Middle Eastern cat. It was just like all these people from international backgrounds who we just all made friends somehow. And a lot of us play sports. Some were on the track team, some were on, different teams. Some just played intramurals like me. But we just kind of came together and we're like, none of us want to join a frat. Which actually, I take that back. We'll get to frats a little bit later if you want to. I did almost join a frat, but then like day of, I didn't do it. And so I was very anti-frat along with these folks. But we're like, we still want to throw parties and have a good time. So we just kind of created our own frat, which we called the U, which originally we were going to call the Internationals because we all come from these international backgrounds. We're like, that's too much. That's too much. So we called it the Union. And then short for the Union, it was the U. So
I'm going to give it to you though. The Union sounds cooler than the Internationals.
No, exactly.
150%. Y'all did the right thing.
Good choice.
Sounds like a straight to DVD release, the Internationals.
Yeah. internationals wouldn't work. So wait, y'all was throwing parties?
Was
we
the
were
white
throwing.
boy rapping at the parties? Because he just threw the little white
Sometimes.
boy rapper out there.
Sometimes he grew up with, I don't know if you remember that rapper Asher Roth out of Pennsylvania. He like grew up with that cat. Like they used to rap together. So like, he's pretty decent. My boy Sean. Simply Sean was his rapper name.
Simply Sean. I can't. Simply Sean on the mic. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Gosh,
Okay.
cool.
But like, we throw these parties. My boy Anthony, we used to call him Tony back then, but now he goes by Anthony. He's actually used to be a radio show host out in Seattle. Now he's doing big things in podcasting. Carla Marie and Anthony. But Anthony, his dad bought a house for him that he was going to rent out. Like, his dad was, trying to make some money. Meanwhile, we come in and just tear the whole fucking house up. But yeah, he got a house. And so we just started throwing parties at it. It was right around the corner from school. A good amount of our friends, like I said, were from the track team. So a lot of people called it the track house, but it really was, the U. That was the U house.
I love this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so like it did definitely kind of come off like a frat. I get it. Y'all got your own house, your little group.
Yeah.
So
we had the best parties. Ask anybody from 15 years ago.
Chris said, I put my stamp on that.
We did that, okay?
So about the almost joining,
Yeah.
the day of saying nah.
So yeah. So another group of friends, like I always make friends with lots of people and I have like different kinds of, groupings of friends. They don't always intermingle, but one of the other groups of friends I had was a bunch of white guys. One of them, there was a black guy, he's super light skinned. Even till this day, I don't know if he's half black, half white, whatever. My boy Brennan, I met him playing basketball and he would just start inviting me out to come and party. Seton Hall, we don't have a football team, but basketball is really big for us. And this was back at the time and Seton Hall's good again now, but they were really good then. We made the NCAA tournament. We were beating top schools. This is in like the heart of the Big East, before it got broken up. So like Carmelo Anthony, we're playing against him. We're playing against other really great UConn teams and all this. And so the games were our games were like 20 miles away. We'd have to get on a bus to get there. You'd have to have someone who got a car. And to be able to drink there, like you had to go out and tailgate because you can't drink in the stadium because it's a college game. So anyway, this guy Brennan was part of this frat called the Skulls. And they basically took me under their wing and I'd come out there and party with them. There's so many games I don't remember past the first half because I just got so fucking drunk. Like I remember we stormed the court, but like I don't remember actually storming the court. Like I know I did it, but I don't have any memory of doing said storming. Because them white boys, woo, they go in.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like after partying with them a bunch, like yo, I want to join with y'all. Like I want to be able to do this on a regular basis. So. Someone decided that I was going to be their or I forgot what they call it on the frat side, but I'm going to be the person that they bring in. And I remember the day, it was like, I guess they call it kind of like rush day or whatever, and you kind of make your commitment to be part of the frat. They had this big blowout party. They had like some stripper over who was shooting ping pongs out of her hoo-ha.
Yes. These are the stories we need for this podcast.
She was squirting everywhere. Like,
oh, yes, Chris.
Mama's not allowed to listen to this.
Oh, no. Wow.
Yes, I want more of that. Okay, keep the story. We'll come back.
Because we got to get to why he said no. Like,
yeah, these are all good things so far. Yeah.
I don't know if we do, Adell. I don't know if we need to, but I'm going to honor the story. You can go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. We left off at the squirting.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, I'm like, all right, this is cool. That's what's up. Like, you guys can get squirted. I'm going to sit here and watch and clap. But like, all right, cool. Let me go grab a drink real quick. So I went to go grab a drink. And as I walk through the kitchen, it's a really small kitchen, and there's like these two guys talking. And as I walk through them, and I forgot to mention, like right before this, I told my, the person who wanted to bring me in, I'm like, I'm definitely doing this. Like, this is what's up. Like, I'm down. So literally, this is probably like 10, 15 minutes later. I'm walking through this kitchen. I walk in between two people, and all of a sudden, I just get blindsided. Someone just hits me in my jaw and knocks me out, knocks me to the ground. I jump up. Immediately, I'm like, who the fuck hit me? Right. So I'm ready to fight. One, I'm already drunk, but two, like, you ain't gonna sneak hit me. And so no one would own up to it. What I find out later, I guess these two guys who were talking are like, they're seniors. And I guess they felt disrespected or something that I walked in the middle of their conversation. Probably disrespected, because I'm a black guy in their fucking house. But anyway, as I'm now like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna fight anybody now. Right. As I'm trying to fight, everybody's holding me back and like pulling me out the house. You need to calm down, like get out. And they eventually like made me leave the party. And this was in the middle of a snowstorm as well. And the reason I mention this is like, there's nobody out on the street. Like, so I have like 3 people escort me back to the college dorm, which is probably about, 5 blocks away. They get me in like Seton Hall because it's in the middle of like 3 of the worst neighborhoods in Jersey. It's in the middle of East Orange, Irvington, and Newark. And so because of that, our school was fenced in and you had to have like special badges to be able to get in and out. So they get me to like one of those gates. I swipe to get in. They're like, all right, you're going to go back to your dorm, right? I'm like, yeah. So I take like a few steps to walk back to my dorm. I see that they leave. I walk right back out that fucking door and I start calling my people who are still at that party. I'm like, yo, I need y'all to find out who hit me. I'm going to find their ass and I'm going to whoop their ass. So eventually they got back to me on who it was. I showed up at this dude's apartment. I'm ringing his bell nonstop. Like, get your ass down here. Oh, you want to fight? Like, no, we're going to actually
Baltimore County right there. I'm here for it. Yes.
I'm by myself, by the way. Like, I didn't get any backup. I'm like, I just went by myself.
We don't need backup.
None.
We got this.
And he bounced in my seat like I was there.
Hey. He refused to come down, but I was ringing his bell for like 30 minutes. But anyway, after that night, I'm like, nah, fuck this frat. Like, one, y'all, I got sneak hit here. Like, y'all just snuck one on me. 2, y'all kicked me out. I didn't even fucking do anything. Like, y'all didn't have my back. Like, this is supposed to be a brotherhood. Like, that's what these frats are supposed to be. And y'all didn't take my back? Nah, I can't rock with y'all. So I ended up not pledging, but I did end up remaining friends with a lot of those people, like the younger cats. And so over the years, I stayed friends with them. I got to attend parties. Everybody kind of knew what happened to me. So I used to go to mixers and stuff that I technically wasn't supposed to go to, but they, I was basically like ushered in as like the celebrity frat member. So I still got all the benefits without having to pay dues or doing all that crazy rush shit. Well, and I even lived with the frat my senior year.
Oh.
Which is a whole nother thing.
You lived but weren't part of the frat?
Yep, I lived in the.
At this point,
I lived in the frat house.
He punked one of the seniors.
I was about to say everything to not get sued in this moment.
Right.
What else you need, Chris?
You want some letters? You want a letter of recommendation? You want a jacket? Like,
you want us to bring that dancer back? Whatever you want, bro.
Whatever you want. Ugh. I don't blame you though, because you're right. Like, it's supposed to stand for like that brotherhood and that connection, and that moment just undid all of that. And especially when like no one would say anything, and then just trying to take you out like you did something. Yeah. Nah, I agree.
It's like all of a sudden like they were treating me like the angry black man. I'm like, I'm angry for a fucking reason. I got hit.
Right.
Period.
If you feel some kind of way, say something. Don't sneak me.
Yep.
Just say something. Then we can take this outside. But you ain't gotta sneak me with that.
Okay, so that was a lot. That might actually be part of the segment, the other segment. When did you want to go home? But maybe you got another story for that. But before we get there, were you involved in any other campus activities? The union sounded like it kept you busy, but were you involved in anything else on campus, orgs?
Yeah, so I played in almost every intramural sport. Like, I just, as you said in my bio, like I'll play anything. So I played like, I think we had softball, basketball, soccer, which I didn't even play soccer in years. But I was so good at all the other sports. They wrote something in the newspaper about like, the U is now returning after so-and-so championship to play in soccer. And Chris Colbert, the star of so like my whole team was really upset about it. You're good in basketball. Why the fuck they writing about you in soccer? What the hell? But yeah, we ran the tables. We won like 12 championships like with my crew while we were there. But yeah, intramural sports. I was also part of Pirate TV. So my freshman year, our TV station, because I said like it's a big media school, so the TV station was really big. And it was only closed circuit on the campus. But our freshman year, halfway through the year, it got shut down because one of the players came in and was like, one of the basketball players came in and was doing a segment. And this motherfucker thought he was T.O. So after the segment, he got up and with a Sharpie signed the lens.
No.
Bruh.
These lenses are mad expensive.
Mad expensive.
Oh my God.
So they
Sometimes
shut
more than the freaking camera. Like, stop.
So they shut that TV station down for a year. And our sophomore year, me and a group of people, and it's more the other group of people, I kind of tagged along and get to say I helped bring back the TV station, but we brought back the TV station. I'll give more shout out to Manny and Kate. But
Chris, did y'all show up outside his room too? Or you,
you better bring, Nah, he was bigger than me.
Okay. Is there a trend?
Right.
But no, we brought back the TV station, and I ended up doing a show called Pirate Feud. Like I brought essentially the Family Feud aspect to Pirate TV, and they made it like a pirate Seton Hall trivia kind of thing. Until this day, that show still lives on, which is really cool. I also was co-host with a few of my friends of a show called Rock You. I obviously talked about the hip hop side. So yeah, I did some things there. I tried to sign up to the radio station, but you had to take a test and like score above like a C+ or something like that. And I didn't realize that it was more like very cultish in terms of like you went to all these sessions, they teach you how all the equipment works and everything. I did good on those questions, but I sucked at the questions where like, who's the person who's in charge of this? Like, who's the program manager? Who's this radio DJ? I'm like, I don't know y'all motherfuckers. Like, I didn't realize I had to be studying all your names. So yeah, I failed that and I didn't make it in. It was the emo channel. So I very much, there wasn't really any black people in that radio station. So like, that felt very almost white elitist to me. And so once I didn't get in on my first test, I'm like, nah, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
I ain't about that. And so I was like, let me just do the TV thing.
I don't blame you anyway, because it's like the whole goal is when I'm in here, I'll get to know who you guys are.
Yep.
Like, if I know how to run something, be content with that. I don't need to know all your names.
Party on at this PWI.
Is that how we do it?
I was waiting for Anna.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. It's these fingers. It's these fingers.
Like, rock.
There you
Yeah.
go. So basically in this segment, it was when you got into this school, which may be different for you because, y'all had the rainbow. It was all of y'all out there, just diversity. But maybe growing up, you liked a certain type of music, but what did you get exposed to while attending the PWI that you never heard before?
So I'm sure this is one that comes up for everybody. Sweet Caroline's, obviously. Yeah. I had never heard that song in my goddamn life. That and what's it, Living on a Prayer? Those two fucking songs. Seton Hall, very dry campus. Like, you had to be real sneaky to be able to drink on campus. It was a very small campus, and like because years earlier there was a fire in one of the buildings, like they were super strict on things coming in and out. So it was hard to drink on campus. They didn't allow frat houses in the town of South Orange, so it's hard to drink there. And like the cops get called all the time for noise violations if you're at someone's house partying. So there were like 1 or 2 bars that you could underage drink in, and one of them was this place called Cryans. I think they're shut down now, so I can legally talk about them. But yeah, all the underage, like you didn't go there if you were overage. You went there if you're underage, and I swear, 2 times an hour you'd hear those fucking songs. Like those things were seared in my brain. I will forever know these songs.
Forever. And well, the part about Sweet Caroline is the community.
Yeah.
Yelling together in no foreseeable harmony at all. It's not even needed. We're just gonna sing it together because we're drunk and it feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah. It's the same. I feel like that about Living on a Prayer too, because then it's like everybody just kind of goes crazy.
Living on a prayer.
We're halfway there.
Yeah. Oh, like that. I would always chime in on those parts.
Right. I don't know none of the verses. I'm just like,
no.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
And then some Sweet Caroline's, oh. Like, so.
That's crazy.
Those are both really great.
Yeah.
But was also interesting, especially my freshman year. Like that was the year of what's that boy's name? Soulja Boy. That when he really came out with like the Superman shit, and so like to watch all the white people doing the Superman song. So I'd be out dancing on the floor the whole time. As soon as Superman that hoe comes on, I sit my ass down. I'm like, I refuse. I literally would tell people, I refuse. I would be dancing with a hot woman. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I gotta go sit down. I protest. I protest this fucking song. I'm not dancing with a bunch of white people to this goddamn song.
You're right. Because they just do, you.
Yeah.
You. That was me one time at the club. Like the Cupid Shuffle came on and I was doing it and I noticed like everyone was behind me following my steps. So I was like, I'm gonna go get a drink. I just literally walked off. I was like, I can't. I don't want to be that. I'm not a dance instructor. I'm just out here.
Well, so you just remind me. This is technically, I think, the year I graduated. But I was at a bar once in Hoboken, New Jersey. You know, basically like the party area for New York, New Jersey, especially when you're coming out of college. It's cheaper than New York, but it's right across the water. And Teach Me How to Dougie was coming on. These white girls came up, can you teach me how to Dougie? I'm like, bitch. I didn't say this out loud in my head. I'm like, bitch, I don't know how to fucking Dougie either. What the fuck? So I just started doing the backwards running man and shit.
You did not say, you did not tell them that was the Dougie.
And they bought that shit. To this day, these girls are probably doing the backwards running man doing for the Dougie.
They killing it.
I don't know how to Dougie.
Setup.
I refuse to learn how to do choreographed dance. Like, that's me. Like, I don't like being told what to do. You ain't gonna tell me how to dance. So, I don't learn these stupid dances. Like, who goes in there and practices these things? Like, sorry, anybody who's listening who practices these dances.
Though, you're right. Though.
But, like, I ain't got time for that. I'm a busy man. I ain't gonna be practicing in front of no full-length mirror.
Oh, my God. I wanted to know 20-year-old Chris. This is what's becoming very clear to me in this interview.
It'd be risky for your life. 20-year-old, even 30-year-old something Chris is still risky for your life. I go in. I drink heavily.
I live for that. I love the fact that he taught them the wrong thing.
Right. And they just running backwards. Just out the door. Like, it's not even sustainable. What is happening?
I think even one of them, as I'm doing, say, I don't think this is right. I'm like, nah, it is. You got this. I just doubled down.
I love that so much. Oh my gosh.
All right, what else you got for me?
Right?
Oh, man.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. So that segment is just about like a moment where you kind of like what you kind of described, where you just was like, something may have happened that you were like, this isn't for me. I need to just go back home. If it's an additional one or that moment,
No, actually, and I think you guys are thinking like the frat one was, I feel like the radio one was where I almost wanted to go home because that was the whole reason I was there. It was to get in the radio and TV. And the TV station that freshman year had disappeared. Now the radio station didn't accept me. And it was like, well, fuck. Like, yes, I can still take classes and hopefully get an internship eventually. But again, that whole situation with that test and like having to memorize the white people at the station, I again, felt elitist. It felt like I don't belong. And again, the radio station was emo music, so it's not even the kind of music I listened to. It's like, okay, was this the right choice? Now, I didn't like I didn't like call my mom like, hey, bring me home tomorrow. But that was, I guess, the time where I really felt like, okay, was this the smart decision? Let's see how the rest of this year plays out, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. How did the rest of the year play out?
A lot more partying. The rest of the year played out well. Like I just kept meeting more and more people that were cool, whether it be white or black. Like I really expanded my network of friends. I also, from a school perspective, is when I got exposed to sociology and I fell in love with sociology. And I think that actually was one of the big things that made me stay. Like one of my sociology teacher was just amazing. This guy, Dr. Kale, a gay Middle Eastern cat. And he just like blew my mind of just like the ways to look at the world and understand like what makes us us and like our upbringings. And, I before I went to college, before I decided I wanted to get in radio and TV, my backup plan to basketball was being a psychologist. So I've always been kind of interested in what makes people who they are. And so, yeah, that was just super eye-opening. And then, just to be exposed to so many people. So Seton Hall has a lot of people coming from out of state. Also has a lot of people coming from different parts of New Jersey. So as I'm learning sociology, like I'm also learning from these people I'm with. So Seton Hall is a big commuter school as well. So a lot of people don't stick around the campus on the weekends. So I was like one of the few people who was never going home. And so I would just go home with other people. I'd go back to their towns in New Jersey. I'd go even, to other places with them. And so it was just really, I don't know, it really exposed me to the rest of the world in kind of a small circle way. I wasn't going to China or anything, but like in a, small United States, kind of demographic, like I was getting exposed to so many other cultures and ways of thinking and ways of just conducting yourself. So, I think that was my freshman year, one of the things that really made me want to stay.
I love that because it's like you had your own community within the community. And then it's like a full circle moment kind of coming from this one type of neighborhood, and now you got to kind of now drop into all these different diverse backgrounds and like what you went there for, to learn from different cultures, to try to look at the world as it is and find your place within it. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Did you ever get on the radio?
I was gonna ask that.
I never got on WSOU. I never tried again. I probably could if I wanted to, but I'm very much once I've made up my mind, like, fuck you, it's fuck you. Like, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to bring me back.
You heard me, Chris?
What'd you say?
I said I co-signed that.
Yeah, Adell has seen firsthand. Not her. Like she's in the good group. But she knows of the fuck you people.
Word.
Facts.
I have a question. How did you know?
How did you know?
So I guess that perfectly kind of leads into that. If there is an additional story of like, how did you know, like the moment that made it click, like this is where I belong, like this fits for me. I really enjoy this here. I can do this.
I think one of them was my freshman year as well, and it was early on. I mentioned before my RA was a senior, black guy. My boy Kyle Warren, I'll shout him out. He's actually now doing work at Rutgers, so our rival. How dare he, this motherfucker? But I let him. He gets a pass because of what he did for me my freshman year. So in high school, I never did any drugs, or I didn't even drink until finally the end of my senior year, because I played sports and I was always afraid, and I'm still this way to this day. Like, I'm afraid of sabotaging myself. I don't want to sabotage my future. And so I never wanted to mess with drugs or alcohol and all that, because, if I get caught, I'm kicked off the team, whatever. So when I got to college is the first time I ever smoked weed. And I remember it was my suite mate, who was a guy who really smoked and exposed me to it. And I remember one time he took me down to go buy it from this cat, about a floor down from us. So as we're in the process, he's going through his stuff. He's, divvying up the weed for us to take. The RAs that would go around, they would, if it was too noisy or whatever, if there's something suspicious, they'd knock on the door and you'd have to let them in. Well, this weed was stank. This joint, I think, was leaking through the bottom of the door. So all of a sudden, we get a knock, knock, knock at the door. And someone looks out and they see it's my RA, and also this other RA who's on duty. And this other RA is a hard ass too. And at this time, I also think my RA is a hard ass. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, it's the RA. He's like, put shit away. I'm like, fuck. I think we're only a month in. I'm like, I'm about to get kicked out of fucking school. Just 1 month in, my mother's gonna fucking destroy, I'm gonna get murdered. We're not even talking these aren't analogies or metaphors. No, she will literally murder me. You know how much this goddamn school costs? Fuck out of here. So they rush to get everything done, and the RA's like, hey, let us in. Oh, 1 second. They finally come in. There's fucking 6 of us in there just kind of sitting around, and you can still smell this weed. And my RA kind of looks around, he looks at me, and just kind of nods. And he's like, all right, I need y'all to keep it down in here. And you can tell the other RA wants to say something. He's like, no, I got this. He's like, y'all keep it down in here. Chris, you don't live down here. What are you doing down here? Yeah, I was just leaving. So I bounced out. He called me, he cornered me later and said, yo, I just saved your fucking ass. We would have busted y'all up for weed. You could have gotten kicked out. This man saved my entire college career. He's probably saved my professional career by doing that, because how I got my job was by being at Seton Hall. And so that was the moment. I felt like I was supported. I had someone looking out for me. It was the black man who was the RA on my floor, and he's got me. I'm not gonna put him in that position again. But yeah, that really made me feel seen. It made me feel supported, and was all right, I'm not out here on my own. And also, all right, don't put yourself in stupid fucking positions like that.
Where is the towel at the door? Y'all did not make the proper provisions.
And this was my first time. I don't know these things at the time. Now,
Okay, Anna.
I don't know the rules and regulations of this smoking weed shit.
Okay. I feel like one of the 6 of y'all could have done better.
It was all these white people. They just, they think they can do whatever the fuck. It was me and 5 of the white people. They just think they can do whatever the fuck they want. So, I almost got hemmed up on that one. But to your point about the towel, even till this day, I'll be in a fucking hotel. I'll put that shit underneath the door. I don't play. Even in my own house, I got one of them little draft things under the floor. It's not to stop the draft from coming in. It's about that draft going out, you know? Yes. And weed is legal in New York, so shit. Yes. I'm paranoid as hell.
Hell yeah. We still all got PTSD. It's legal in Chicago. It still don't feel right, okay?
It still don't feel right.
It don't feel right. Only in LA does it feel right. Oh, no.
Even then it doesn't for me, because I'm like, oh... Like
this is entrapment.
We do that now, huh? Right.
We do it in public. It's all good. But no, for real. So, okay, I do have another question for you. So you were staying at the white frat house, but you weren't part of the frat. Like, did black people judge you?
Nah. I got free room and board. No, I'm playing. I had to pay for my room and board, but yeah, I got free parties. Nah, they didn't judge me though. It did end up sucking for me because, so that was my senior year. I actually only had like 9 credits left to graduate my senior year. I could have graduated early. I just chose to draw that out because, hey, I'm in college. Might as well enjoy this. But I started working for Sirius XM. I started creating Jamie Foxx's radio station halfway through my senior year. So I was actually going to a regular job halfway, that second semester of senior year. And so there were parties happening every night, and I lived in the basement. And so like there were so many times I wanted to call in noise violations. Like, also like, when they're hazing the new recruits or whatever you call them, the little, rushy little cats, that was always happening in the garage right next to my room. So it'd be loud, cigarette smoke is floating underneath my door, and I hate cigarette smoke. It's like that would keep me up at night, and I hated it. The one funny thing that kind of happened, which I still love, is that the way that we set up things in our house is that you would alternate taking the noise violation, because you'd always get a noise violation when you throw a party. So it was like, all right, you have to pay at this time. And so it was a rotating thing. The one time that I had to get the noise violation, I was so pissed off. I was asleep waiting for work. And these motherfuckers let the cops come down to my room and pull me out of bed and gave me the noise violation.
Oh, nah.
So
that being woken up off of that.
Mm-hmm. Clearly, I'm not the problem.
Nope. So I ended up I fought the ticket. Like I went to court for it, and I was like, yeah, like we had this party. Like my roommates had this party. I was asleep. Like literally, you can read the police report. I was in my bed, and I somehow was able to get them to drop it. So I told my roommates this, all white cast, and they're like, what the fuck? No, then you have to take the next one. Nope. I already did my rotation. It was your fault for not fighting yours. So I never had to pay for any of my noise violations.
So I took it. Yep. I just didn't have to pay it.
I just won.
Exactly. Yeah, so, that's crazy.
But so, yeah, it was interesting living with them.
Were there any, I know you had your group, the U, and you said you did intramural. Were there any like student organizations, like minority-based student organizations that you maybe participated in or saw around campus? Like, were there different groups like that?
Yeah, we did have black organizations. There were also like black frats and sororities there. And yeah, I would attend, some of the events they throw. I just never, wanted to become part of the groups. Also, just because I was so busy. Like most semesters, I had a full course load. I would have 1 to 3 jobs. And I was doing intramurals and, just trying to have fun. So yeah, I just didn't have enough time to join more organizations. But yeah, there was always like functions that I always tried to attend. So like I still did some of like go to the stepping competitions, which were always great. Doing like some of the black networking events that they'd have there. So they did do a really good job of making sure those quote unquote affinity groups had something for themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's dope. It kind of sounds like you got the best of both worlds, because you got to. I would have loved to see a step show on my campus. We didn't have that over there.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, nah, at all. So I'll just leave that at that.
I think we hosted one. At one point at Drake. But don't get me to lying. Somebody that went to DU with me. I think we did. And yeah, but they came from Iowa State. Right. And I think the University of Iowa even came down.
They weren't on campus.
No, we didn't have historically black frats or sororities on campus.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, are you sure it was a step show, or was it just tap dancing? You were just drunk.
Oh. It might have been, but no.
Come out the river dance, y'all.
I mean, I'm surprised we didn't. I don't at Drake in middle of Iowa. It would fit.
Really, it would.
It would fit so perfect.
So, in knowing why you went in the first place and going through it, do you feel like you kind of got or accomplished that? Like now that you're out of it and in the workforce and in the industry and even having your own business, which you hope to gain in undergrad, do you feel like you got that and it's been helping your career trajectory?
Absolutely. It's funny. I don't really acknowledge my high school in terms of all my, like I hated my high school experience. I loved my college experience, and I loved what came out of my college experience. I love the friends that I continue to have out of my college experience. I love the diversity of just like cultures that I got to get exposed to. I love, having been so close to New York, which is what got me my first job. Like actually, the internship I got at Sirius was because of being at Seton Hall. Sirius, before it was a known entity, came there and was like begging people to be an intern. And so that's what got my foot in the door. And I also had teachers that were literally working in New York City. And if it wasn't for me being hired at Sirius, I was about to get hired to the promotions department at one of the top radio stations in the country, Z100 and KTU, as in the promotion side. So it was like, yeah, it was a really great supportive environment. It was a diverse environment, which again, I didn't realize until I actually got there. And yeah, I wouldn't change a thing when it comes to going to Seton Hall. I think it was a great school. It's part of why I go back at least once a year to either mentor or, talk or, try to mentor, try to bring people in to the school, but also, bring people out of the school into the industry because I just know the power of what it has done for me. And yeah, I'm a big lover of Seton Hall.
Look at Chris opening up the alumni mail and stuff. I don't give him back.
Stop there, though. No, that's when they ask for money. I give back of my time.
That's what I
get my goddamn money. You already got my money. That shit was expensive.
You got my money, and you're still getting money. Like, you don't need my coins. You have it. You have it. I'm with you. I'll go to the little meetups, and I'll participate and stuff in the local and, like, the games and stuff. But you're not getting my money.
I just realized, too, I'm wearing my school colors. I didn't even mean to do that. Yeah, go Hall.
Thank you for tuning in to the Head Nod Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on the Qube app and at DCP Official across social. Family, follow my sis Adell at I am Adell Coleman across all socials.
And follow the coolest to ever do it, Anna DeShawn at Anna DeShawn on all socials.
Listen wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really dig it, leave a rating and a review. Keep nodding your heads with us. Until next time, this is the Head Nod.